So, Grandpa, you must be excited that we're talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for this episode.
Mm-mm.
What? Disgusted?
Mm.
You can't be serious. Did you say you wish death upon the series creators and anyone else associated with the franchise, past, present, and for all eternity?
Mm.
I don't get it. You're like a turtle. This was a pretty big step in terms of representation for you.
Mm.
Oh, I guess you're right. The creative team did neglect to consult any actual turtles when making the comics to ensure authenticity. This entire enterprise can basically be written off as cultural appropriation.
Mm.
Well, would you look at that? Only our second episode, and we've already been canceled. Michael fucking Bay. You know him, you hate him, you watch his explosions. Steven Spielberg may have given birth to the modern day blockbuster, but Bay is the pageant mom who scarred it for life with aggressive parenting. Hot girls, parallax, lens flares, and the aforementioned Bay explosions. These are all the staples that Michael Bay has built his brand on. His movies are basically the big screen equivalent of Sodom and Gomorrah, especially considering how they turn people salty. Did you get my joke there? I was a very lonely child. YouTubers have built their entire careers by trashing this guy's filmography, but not I. Today I'm actually going to defend one of the most atrocious adaptations of the 2010s. I'm going to talk about what's good in 2014's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm.
Oh, Grandpa says he can't wait for all the other YouTube kids to beat me up at school tomorrow. So in 1984, two nerds came up with a revolutionary idea. What if we took popular elements from other comic books of the time and disguised them as our own ideas? Ho ho ho, delightfully devilish, Seymour. In all seriousness, TMNT was meant to be a send-up of the comic tropes that were big moneymakers at the time. Radioactivity, mutants, martial arts and samurai stories, and even fucking Scrooge McDuck. So all these comedians pointing out how LOL random the turtle backstory is are completely missing the point of satire. Anyway, the comic turned out to be a big hit and was eventually picked up for an animated TV series. You probably know the rest of the story from here. Catchy theme song, Turtle Mania, merchandise, blah blah blah. Though what's far lesser known is how co-creator Kevin Eastman made a string of bad financial decisions and had to sell the rights to the characters to pay off his debts. He's like Peter B. Parker from that Spider movie everyone likes.
Hey everybody, it's your good old soggy friend, Mr. Like, here to remind you to hit that like button. Come on, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and give it a big old click. Right on the kisser. Come on, you're just sitting there, sitting in front of your computer, not using your hands. Unless, of course, you got a Pornhub open in another tab. Then I guess it doesn't matter. In fact, if you're on Pornhub, don't click the like button. I don't want your gross, sweaty hands all over my like button.
So in 2009, after decades of success, the rights to everyone's favorite mutated turtles fell into the lap of none other than Nickelodeon Studios. And they wanted to ride that money train all the way to the bank with a new TV show and movie. The film went through a kind of production hell as it was pushed back multiple times and writers were constantly being added to rework the script. The most notable controversy was Michael Bay announcing that the Turtles would be part of an alien race, which didn't make the fans too happy. There was also a time period when this guy was credited as being the Shredder, which was the most laughable joke to come out of production. I didn't notice it on my first viewing, but upon rewatch it becomes pretty obvious that we never see Shredder get in or out of the suit because his identity was changed at the last minute. But hey, this isn't a video about the bad in Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles movie. This is about the good. So when I saw this movie was available to watch for free on Tubi, I thought, hey, why not watch this ironically and have a laugh at how bad it is? After all, I'm a big fan of the 90s Turtles movie and its ability to seamlessly blend the dark atmosphere of the original comic with the campy humor of the cartoon from the 80s. So what value could I possibly find in this? But the longer I watched the Bay Turtles, the more and more I started enjoying myself. Like, it's not an Oscar-worthy masterpiece that will be remembered for generations, but it's a goofy kids movie that makes the most of its zany premise. All the turtles have pretty good characterization. Leo is the level-headed leader, Raph is the tough guy muscle, and Donnie's the nerd. The only character that they mess up is Mikey, who gets the Teen Titans Go treatment that Beast Boy got. You know, taking the fun-loving comic relief character and turning him into a creepy horn dog. I also like this iteration of Master Splinter. He's just this abusive dad who beats the ever-loving crap out of his sons. It's a shame they got rid of his original ties to the Shredder, though. The two of them have this great showdown in the sewers, but there's no backstory to justify why Shredder hates him so much. I also actually like Megan Fox as April O'Neil. She keeps trying to explain the turtles' existence to people without any proof whatsoever. Who in their right mind would do this? That's not a diss. It was very intentionally put in there as a joke, and it lands very well every time. The action scenes are also pretty solid. Even when everything's being obscured by shadows, the editing and sound design makes you at least feel as if Kung Fu is actually happening. I guess that's the one thing that bugs me the most about this movie. It does everything in its power to keep martial arts from happening. The Foot Clan have guns, so they just shoot people. The Turtles have super strength and invulnerability, so they only use martial arts against the Shredder. Could this be another ploy by the studio to keep the Turtles from using their weapons? An attempt to keep parental action groups off their back? The villain plan is also pretty generic. It's just another poison the city plot. What makes up for the dull villain plan is the fact that he is so unabashedly in it for the money.
And I'm gonna be rich. Like, stupid rich.
Another thing that brings down this otherwise solid movie was this fucking chucklehead. He's supposed to be the comic relief, but all he does is make unfunny attempts to sleep with this girl that's obviously too young for him. Was Will Arnett practicing for his role in BoJack Horseman? I guess I didn't do a very good job convincing you this movie has merit, but all the lapses in design give it a certain charm, in my opinion.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
And that's the end of another episode, which means it is once again time to spin the wheel. Ooh, mystery prize. The next mutation.
Researchers are concerned about one mutation in particular.
All viruses mutate.
Every day it continues to mutate and evolve.